order flow here. And the idea is that we want to try and get them to match each other. If they don't, we obviously have different strategies to deal with that unmatch. You can see obviously with a period during this period here where they did not match with each other, and that's something we'd be acknowledging during that period. They obviously match everywhere else. So where were the trades? Well, you can see where the trades are. They're actually marked for you. There's a sell trade there. There was a sell trade there. Now that was on the transition of the two time frames analysis of the long-term and short-term order flow for a sell trade. So we took the sell. You can see how these trades have evolved and developed. There was a sell trade there, not the most successful outcome, I would agree with you, and a reasonably good sell trade there for that sell-off there. Now, why was this a buy trade? Well, the greens, it wasn't a solid buy trade, but you can see that there was enough evidence for the buy with the aggregation at the bottom, giving us confidence to go ahead and buy that price there. Got a nice outcome. You can see at the very top edge here, we got this big ag exit trade down here, and that was obviously the walk away for that trade. We just closed the position out at that stage. As we came back down into the bottom edge, we're starting to now look again, and the challenge we had is that we changed the time frame. The time frame analysis changed in here. So we started to become very, very passive for any buy trades, and we need the solid blue max trade at that stage. We can't just take an ag. We want to see the solid buy trade. And there's a solid buy trade just there. Do you see it? There it is there. So that's our really passive, patient buy trade in that type of environment where the short-term pressure's in, but we get a good enough signal to buy into at that stage. Now, obviously, the short-term is bearish. So obviously, when we start to rally back up into the higher prices, when we go bearish here, the good news is, obviously, what we're going to be doing is selling when we get blue lines in a pink zone. Selling when we get blue lines in a pink zone. How easy is that to recognize? So when we get blue lines in a pink zone, we put some sell orders in there. And we got this brilliant sell-off down into this very, very obvious ag area down here. There was a lot of volumes, everything lined up perfectly. That's usually going to be a nice opportunity to book some monies. As the price trades back up again, you can see where the sell trade comes in here. Is this relatively crystal clear for everybody? So the sell trade comes in here. We start working the sell orders there. And yes, I know it went against us up to that just shy of 82s, but it is what it is. Take it, leave it, whatever you want to do with it. But it is still a sell trade, and the sell trade at 90s has just traded a low price of 76s. Kind of incredibly so, but we've just traded a low price of 76s, which is a great trade outcome in the right environment. And as we trade down into this area, we're starting to watch this build on the change in the short-term storyline here. And we're obviously going to be watching this drive down with the opportunity to start looking for bids in these areas. So we start hunting for that bid storyline to start to show up. No ags to speak of in those areas. It's obviously the ags that were really, really important in these areas. We'd always prefer to be ags, and that was what was missing in those trades as well there. We didn't have any ags to kind of get ourselves massively excited into those trade ideas. But you know, there's a real base there to be worked on. It's just to really give an updated view of what the storyline looks like. I think it's a lot clearer for everybody. Obviously, the interpretation of lines is basically now color coordinated. It's just color coded, so you can make a relatively fast interpretation of what the trade is. And that's what we're trying to get to in terms of the story. We're trying to get to the storyline where we can actually make a quick decision about what to do at certain prices, right? We're trying to get that fast decision process, and that's important in trading, isn't it? Anyway, we had, talking of that sell, if you were just simply looking at the NASDAQ in terms of value, the structure did change at the top edge. You started to see a value divergence for the Qs. It's been changing for, you know, literally a lot of time here, but you see the basic idea here is You started to see the structure narrative developing on the sell side here at the cash open itself for that short sale to come in. And that is as good as it's likely to get, isn't it? Very, very nice. As we look into the 1 minute chart, you'll see that that structure is not invisible from the naked eye. It's very clear into the cash open at the high price swings. And you're obviously going to be aware of that short-term structure for that possible short sell to come into that trade, bearing in mind that that was the max short trade as well. And the sell away from the NASDAQ is going 840s down to 740s for 100 points, $2,000 per contract.